Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
You can go first, La, because you're the lady.
I'm La. I'm the lady.
And I'm Jonathan.
You know the people that hate
I-
us.
Wait, I need to apologize up front for the awkward moment coming up. Justin's gonna walk in the door, the dog's gonna bark, and there's gonna be mayhem.
It's all right. It's all right, people. We're going to keep it
Exciting.
going because we have to get to Real Housewives of New York. But we have a lot to discuss. Last week was the second week of Dancing with the Stars. Okay. Don't
We're halfway through.
I know. Don't hate me for this, but I kind of do wish that this were a longer season because I kind of am enjoying watching Tonya Harding every week.
Also, if it was longer, like they wouldn't do the weird voting off at the end, and it would. I feel like it would be more, I don't know, real.
I don't watch it normally. Is it that they just vote off one person each week?
Well, now that it's been really struggling, they vote off one person a week. It used to be 2 nights. I mean, they used to really draw this out.
Yeah, so they would do 2 nights, and the second night the person would go, right?
Yeah.
I see.
But then they've kind of shortened it the last couple of seasons because, people are like, we've seen this game before. So.
All right, so we got a lot of comments last week on, how mean we are. I didn't think we were that mean.
Some people thought we
I
were.
not saying meaner to random people if I need to.
It's not a Grand Prix final thing. We're kind of like podcasting, kind of like riffing on a reality television show. So I just kind of let it be more casual and free flowing. There is no technical analysis to be had because the dancing that's happening on Dancing with the Stars is a far cry from the level of skating that's happening at a Grand Prix final or the World Championships. So, whatever.
So in past years, Dancing with the Stars, as it's gone along, if you've been with it for the journey, it used to actually kind of resemble the dance. There used to be an orchestra with a live singer, Jonathan, which you would really appreciate. There was this guy who was the conductor. Now he's like a DJ, basically. But in the beginning, they used to actually perform. In the beginning, they performed to real music that was they would all perform tangos if they were doing tangos. And then it became pop versions that were sort of mangled into tangos. Now it's Tanya's doing a foxtrot to something about her being a redneck, and it's all loosely
It's
based.
like an original dance now. You're saying it used to be everyone would do that same thing.
Yeah.
And you'd be comparing more apples and apples. Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting in the beginning.
It used to have each episode had a theme that carried throughout.
Often.
Okay.
Sometimes it would be they had a live orchestra one week, and one time it was they used to pick 2 dances, and that was interesting too, is that half of the people would do the quick step and half of the people would do the tango. And then they would go and alternate, and it wasn't as insufferable.
Wait, I'm just gonna make you pause. Dave. Can we pretend that La's dog is actually the bear from his dance?
So once we started getting to Disney Week, the show it jumped the shark to me. It was fine before that when Marie Osmond was in the big bow and everything, but yeah. So the bear during Tanya's number. So let's start with Tonya. She wanted us to see a different side of her. She wanted us to know that she's a redneck.
Oh.
What?
Well, I love that they told her what the song is, as if she's not already prepped for it, and she's like, "I love that song," and I was like, "Of course you love that song."
Wait, pause. So, okay, week 1, I thought Tonya was really horrible, and then this week I was like, "Oh my god, she's so good."
I don't know where you were last week, La. I was thinking
she took a real big step up. I agree.
I sort of thought she was better than Adam.
She was better than Adam in my mind.
I imagine this is how she dances at the bar before she leaves and
Athletically
with a hubcap. And
it looked like she lost 10 pounds between.
And the bangs pulled back looked really good.
She's also pretty endearing on the reality show.
This season, or this episode in particular, I thought she kept her mouth kind of shut.
Nancy was likable-ish, but then not. Nancy was likable, and she opened up about her miscarriages, and I thought that was really likable. But she always seemed like she was it seemed a little bit phony that she was so excited for Dancing with the Stars. Whereas Tonya, this is all she has. So she seems like super appreciative to be dressing as a redneck and
That's
dancing with
exactly
that dancing
it.
bear. Yeah.
She's been, all of these people. Nancy, yeah, okay, after the Olympic spotlight, she's always in the spotlight. She still is. I mean, Tonya literally before this movie was just like out and occasionally did like a tired like ESPN documentary or something like that. But like for her, it is probably like waking up. Do you know what I mean? Like snapping out of it and being in the public eye, having purpose, like having the attention. Like she can say she's happy being at home with her pickup truck or whatever, but like she obviously loves the limelight. And there was an article that came out, I think it was in Newsweek, about how Adam reiterated that he's not avoiding Tonya, but he's not avoiding Tonya because she did do a bad thing, which I'm just so tired of this, like clearly like this USFS like coaching of everyone to exclude her. I can't tell you how many times it's like the two skaters, Mirai and Adam, and then here's this like other character, Tonya, and it's like, I don't know. I found it very endearing, and not just because I loved her back in the 90s.
And Jackie Wong will trash her too because he's USFS. So
I would just love to be a fly on the wall there and like see what that dynamic is, because first she said she never like heard of Mirai and didn't know she landed a triple axel, and then like Mirai and Adam are obviously coached, as you said. I just like would love to see the dynamic backstage.
Speaking of the coaching, we got a message from people. In the beginning, I thought this was a ridiculous like skating fan, but so Mirai keeps referring to herself as a valley girl, but she's not from the actual valley where people consider themselves a valley girl. And I thought that she just said it one time, but then she also did it on Instagram. So,
she's trying to make it gimmick. And
yeah,
I was like,
I think it's because as we said, she sounded, well, people didn't like that comment last week, but it is kind of true, and there's a lot to Mirai. She also wasn't good at the fake crying, because she is so up and down emotional all the time at the rink, doesn't seem the happiest sometimes. We've seen her cry a lot throughout her career, and then she was like crying over a 7 on a reality TV show that was pretty good, and she got other 8s. It was just, Mirai has a lot of work if she wants to be a TV presenter. I think she should keep going to her classes and invest this money after.
My favorite comment from Jonathan was, if only she cared this much about her PCS.
Yes. Correct.
I didn't say that. Someone else did for the record.
All right, can your audience, people that comment on if they think Tanya's boobs are fake, because like I can't figure it out and I can't focus on anything.
But
else.
the people who comment are like the most emotional and the most invested and
protective. They're protective,
and they're very protective of like Mirai, and they still treat Jason like he's 12. Mirai was so wronged.
Well, if you have an opinion on this, I'd love to.
I think that in some of the comments, someone did clarify. No, what am I saying? They confirmed that she did indeed, and had more specifics about it. That at some point she for sure did.
Oh, okay.
Important information.
Question answered. Anything else about Tonya before we move on?
Yeah, because I saw the Jeff and Tonya wedding night video, and it did not look like that back then. But that was before kids.
He's like older and fatter.
I've never seen Breakaway, though. Have you seen Breakaway?
No, I think it's pretty hard to find. Like, I think even in the day when I tried to find it, it was like difficult to watch.
Breakaway.
She did like a C-level like film, and they would show like excerpts of it on like Access Hollywood or like A Current Affair. I don't know, like one of those kinds of shows.
It looks like she's throwing something in the she's breaking away, but I think it's must see. Up there with Nancy's singing album.
Well, Tonya is really strong. Like, so this like kind of like jumpy, kind of like Zumba step aerobicsy kind of thing, like actually
Called
really
a quick
worked.
step. Yes.
Yeah, but the way she did it, it was so athletic that you really were like, she is strong. And there was like all this stuff. And she clearly still has a strong core, because I think I forgot to mention this last time when she spun around on the floor in the first episode, and then Adam in like the team dance or whatever tried to do something similar and didn't achieve it as well as Tonya. Like, that girl still has some real core strength.
So Tonya led her partner and Adam didn't, and it was like role reversal because Adam's supposed to lead and Tanya's not. So that's kind of what we love. I think that's what we like about both of them, is the gender bending and skating, and
Yeah.
But I thought that Tanya's was cleaner. I did see the arm thing that Carrie Ann was talking about, but at times it looked very nice.
And she's in her shoulders because the guy's taller.
Yeah. But,
So she needs to have like a scoop neck or something so it like elongates and she'll be fine.
yeah. All right. So
or she can just pull her shoulder blades down.
Also an option.
So this seemed to be like a quasi-Disney week as we move on to Mirai. The insipid It's a Small World after all. But I thought that Mirai seemed far more elegant and majestic here and yet emotive than she ever did in any of those short programs where she would put on the piano music. And I think it shows you that if she wants to care when it's go time...
Well, she does. Did you find... Because I have found in the past that she has emoted in exhibitions.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something about the jump concentration really has to be so one-dimensional for her. Because like when she
like
opened up...
Sometimes it doesn't look like it. She's not known for being happy at the rink. Yeah.
Well, but in singing also, like my concentration face, I think if something is really difficult, I think sometimes concentration can read as disconnection or anger or something. So I wonder if that's what's happening. But when she did that opening, like leg lift extension thing, I was like, oh, that is so elegant and so beautiful. And I didn't necessarily expect that.
Can we pause and cut the bullshit for 1 second about her disconnect when she's skating? Because she's only done the triple axel for this year in competition, and presentation is half of the game, supposedly, in skating. So look like you're invested, honey, because your PCSs were actually kind of generous sometimes. So I thought that this showed what she was really capable of, and you could kind of see what she had when she was younger. There's still inside of her. She still could have had that on the ice. And unfortunately, it was squandered and not brought out. And certainly not managed correctly by Tom Z.
I was just annoyed at the whole Disney thing because, so we spend like all season like rolling our eyes at Brady's Cinderella. And then last week, it was Jonathan made the comment, like, it was so nice to see them get out of this insular world of skating and like look so amazing, and then it's like back to Disney.
I felt really sad about that too. It seemed like steps backwards.
Yeah, but then when they cut to all the shots of Fedor sitting next to Meryl, I was like, 10.
Yeah.
10 across the board for that. Except like, why didn't anyone fix his band across the
Isn't
ear?
it interesting though? Like, I'm fascinated by Meryl with Fedor. Fedor, who dated everyone in skating, like the ultimate Lothario playboy.
I mean, like, but wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't have. But maybe I wouldn't have had the confidence that she has to keep him in line. Because look, I'm reading about Lucy and Desi, and let me tell you, you can't tame some people. So
yeah, but he's like older and like works in consulting now, so it's like,
so he has money, so it doesn't matter. At least she can go to the country club, whether or not he has a woman on the side.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, okay, Mirai was like, I'm going to do this cute Disney shout out to Meryl, and somehow it doesn't land. Like, she tried that. She's like, well, the real queen is here, Meryl, and like the audience reaction like,
they
like
forgot who she is from that point to now.
Even the delivery of Mirai, something about it didn't. It's, and I know it's hard. It must be very hard to just like off the cuff. But it
was in a place where she's not asked to talk, so I think that's where it was. Like, she should have done it when they go and they're interviewed by
whoever that is.
Guy and
Erin Andrews. She was on the show with the season is Evan Lysacek. Jonathan, she was in the Peephole. I mean, pop culture. She got a lot of money. Wait.
ESPN, and it's actually kind of fascinating. Like,
what'd you say?
I know it's like for straight men, but like, there was one episode of TSL this season when Medvedeva had the foot injury, and you guys were talking about how you didn't understand why it said parentheses foot. And I was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing.
Because we were supposed to know that that's a thing.
It's like a thing in like straight men's sports. Where, like,
they just like reduce it to like Evgeny about foot.
They like announce the injury, and it's like, like Tom Brady knee, and then
Yeah. Like, even if I read Tom Brady knee, I would be like, he needs what? Like, what are you trying I'd be like, I don't get it. Okay.
All right, moving on.
Jonathan, Erin Andrews was naked in a hotel room. The luckiest person. I mean, look, she is really. I know it's a Me Too situation, but I shouldn't even say this.
You don't know about this?
I'm just thinking of what Joan Rivers would say in this
Google
moment.
it. She wasn't like naked in a hotel room. It was her hotel room.
Yeah, it was her hotel room. There was a creeper looking through the peephole. But the millions that she got at the end of the day, Jonathan, it was worth it.
That she deserved.
It was a little bit of an outrageous sum for like.
It was like an outrageous situation, though.
An outrageous situation.
You could find
yes.
like $100,000.
The punitive damages were like a little outrageous for like. Look, I'm just saying it was a horrible thing that happened, but like 8 million maybe. Like she got like something ridiculous, like. You know, you're thinking like 8 million, 10, you know.
That's a lot of money.
But no, Jonathan, it was like way more than that she got. Like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't intrigued enough to do more research on her.
No, so. Like I felt bad for like, but there are limits to feel bad. Like if you're giving that much money, what are the Carollis going to give? Or like the wines? I mean, literally, if we're on a scale of, you know, people's pain, I know that she's pretty and blonde and famous, but, you know, what are all the Nassar victims going to get? That's what I'm saying before you write the hate.
Speaking of, as he said, transitioning out of this conversation, of pretty blonde and famous, like, a friend of mine was like, oh, does this feel slightly racist, this voting off situation on this season? And apparently it's something that's also being mirrored in American Idol. Someone is saying, like, it's America's racism at its finest, that, like, 2 African-American dancers were voted off when that horrible softball girl who, like, had to change remained on, because I thought she needed to go over the collegiate basketball player.
I thought they both needed to go last week. Well, Kareem needed to go last week. I mean, at some point, you're like...
He's so tall, they literally had the girl sambaing on the shoulders of another girl.
I think they just had to get rid of him. I don't even believe that they're really counting the votes. We discussed this last week, but come on. I mean, you can't even...
I felt bad because the collegiate basketball player, like, she actually was endearing to me, and I thought that, like, I do not enjoy the softball player at all, who then was whiny about the music.
Full disclosure, went out to dinner and forgot to DVR this, so I had to watch it the next day on YouTube.
And did you remember that Jonathan texted us saying that we should refer to the softball player as Brenda after Brenda Kerrigan for the rest of the season?
We don't want to get close to the camera. Yeah.
Now we have 2 blind dancers on this season because the one, like, the stilts one couldn't see.
Right. Amazing.
So, and I, like, saw the text messages that the softball player, like, couldn't handle her music. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. And then, okay, I need to defend her, though, because, which surprises me, too, but the song that she danced to was still, like, really dirty, that it actually made me think, like, what
was the original?
What was the original one that she?
But they never tell you what the original was, right?
So but it just made me think, like, maybe she actually had a point.
Yeah.
But you know what means they don't like her and they're giving her a weird edit. That's how this works. Remember, they didn't like Nastia and they made sure to replay that video again and again and again. And the blind items that whole year on Crazy Days and Nights were talking about what a witch Nastia was behind the scenes.
Yeah. But okay. I think that maybe she did have, like, a really, like...
It's also on ABC at 8 o'clock, so what can they show? I mean, there are, like, standards and practices. I don't know.
Right. The song she had was, like, pretty dirty.
You would think that they have to get the song approved.
I noticed it. I was just like, I don't like her for some reason.
Of course, it, like, because of the whole... I wouldn't have if it hadn't been, like, the whole thing they did.
Yeah. Okay.
So Adam's dance, I thought Mirai was better than Adam this week. I thought Tonya was probably better than Adam.
Adam seemed, like, heavy-footed this week.
Yeah.
I think he needs to catch up on some sleep.
I just thought that it was a little quick. He did have, like, some of his... You know how he did that thing in the Beatles where he would kind of dance and it would be, like, sort of charming and sort of awkward, like at the same time when he would like lean back in the middle of it. The whole section when he was like leaning forward, it was like a bad program with the car for me. I was just, it's too much. You know, like I like Adam, but like there's a limit to his shtick that I can take. Like,
yeah, and the whole fluff piece this week was like an excuse, kind of like, you know, the one girl's taking her finals. Mirai is also having the same schedule. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like an excuse before he even started.
Well, they recycle those. You know, they want to show the people at Stars on Ice how busy they are, but it just fell flat to me. Also, it's the second week. Meryl did it for like 3 months, so you're tired, but like, honey, this is week 2. You should still be happy that you're getting exposure. So that's
right. Yeah, you're halfway through. Like, you're still there.
How did you feel about your boyfriend this week?
It was too much clothing for sure until the team dance, and I don't know. I thought he was fine. I was surprised he was in the bottom 3. He's not a great dancer. I feel like, you know, the end is in sight, but like he's obviously very endearing. He's very sweet. He seems a little simple, but he's got a great smile and like a good energy also, which is kind of nice. And in the when they were doing those team dances, do they do that all the time?
Unfortunately, they do that. That comes at least once a year.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, do you ever go to a wedding where, like, you know the bride is, like, very, like, type A and is like, husband, you are going to learn this dance and we're going to do this, like, choreographed dance. It's a little cringe. And then the groom looks, like, really awkward, but you know he's trying and, like, he learned it to make her happy.
You go to way too many white girl weddings. Like, you're constantly at weddings. I know. Oh.
I have one this entire year, so.
Well, your roommate still hasn't tied the knot yet, but we need to. No, old roommate. Anyway, so.
Yikes!
Yes.
Okay.
Not your husband. Anyway, I mean, so the team dances, an obvious cringe, but I thought that like. Again, back in the day, they once did a team dance to like Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling. It was a cha-cha. It was fine. This instant replay song, I don't know where it came from, but it reminded me of the bad Super Bowls when that cheesy group from the 80s used to perform. That was like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
oh,
what?
Duran Duran?
No. So I'm blanking on their name. But they were in like every Super Bowl halftime show from ever. Something the people. Oh God, what? Super Bowl halftime shows. It's going to bother me. Okay.
We're doing the important research.
No.
Right.
Okay, list of Super Bowl halftime shows.
Well, while you look that up, Dave, we're going to discuss that for 1 second.
Instant replay. It's called Up With People. Up With People. They were this awful group that would be in all of them, and I'm sure the skating fans loved them. Okay, they were terrible. Okay.
They'll be so angry. You hurting their feelings. Okay.
I know.
What about their technical abilities?
I am not Up With People. Okay, so
amazing. I thought we were about to get some real Tonya drama. There's just one moment when it started in that team dance fluff when Tonya like tripped and she's like, I think I sprained my ankle. Maybe I broke it. And I was like, here we go. Here comes the blade. Here comes the
She
skate.
wasn't kidding when she said that, or was she?
No, it seemed to me like I thought they were going to go there with this, but I was like, if she actually had experienced that during the rehearsal, that would have been like the whole premise of her redneck dance, but it wasn't. So I was like, she must be fine. But
this is why.
Here we go.
This is why it's such a shame that they had American Idol and had to reduce the season of Dancing with the Stars, because Jonathan, when they get really exhausted and it lasts for like 10 to 12 weeks, they used to have real incidents occur as we'd become stressed and pressured from week to week and the emotional drain. So I don't know how much you know about Dancing with the Stars history, but Marie Osmond did have a faint episode on live television.
I about it from Kathy Griffin. She talks about it in one of her albums.
Yes.
And the pros have gotten like really injured too.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So Derek Huff often had injuries, and it was a real.
Nastia had to get a new partner.
I know.
Oh.
I have nothing else to say about this week. Do you guys?
No. So let's go on to the real news where people are tuning in. Evgeny Medvedeva is switching to Brian Orser. It would have been on the rumor mill a little bit. We
knew a while ago somebody big was going
to Orser,
right? But we didn't know who.
We knew it was another A-lister, and I kept thinking Shoma Uno, but then I was like, wait, Hanyu hates Shoma Uno. There's like a big internal Japanese rivalry. So, yeah, that was not... Yeah, so...
I have to say, this is something that happens in other countries all the time, obviously, right? You know, people going to different countries and different experts, you know, all this sort of stuff. You don't really see this happening with the Russian skaters. So
not with their ethnocentrism. Hell no.
That somehow all of it is wrapped up.
Xenophobia. Oh, yeah. No way.
Yeah. So I am beyond thrilled because it actually speaks volumes to me about Evgenya's commitment to the sport and her art form in general, that she knows, you know, and obviously this happens in singing all the time too. The one that brought you up is taking the credit. The one that brought you, you know, it's going to be a defensive thing every step of the way. The only person who looks ridiculous in all of this news to me is Atiri. What an unfortunate way to choose to respond to it.
But she does that. She did it with Yulia too, and she's probably done it with all her others. It's never their fault. Raphael does the same thing. He did it with Nathan after the Olympics. It was not his fault. It was all Nathan. This is all her fault. She's awful. She wanted me to have Zagitova stay back. Such a childlike person. I love that Medvedeva ghosted her because apparently she texts Orser every day about ideas with music and how they want to reinvent her skating.
You know what? Amazing. That is so, because I want her to have that enthusiasm, because very easily this could have gone the other way. She would disappear. Mm-hmm. We never would have heard from her again. I have a question, because there are conflicting articles and reports, it would seem, on this enormous comment that she said about Zagitova maybe staying in juniors. That's something I would like. If I heard her say that, I would clap and be like, brava. Like, I picture her like doing it off her shoulder, being like, oh, geez, you couldn't have kept her junior one flipping year for me. Thanks a lot, coach. You know what I mean? But I don't understand the context of when it happened.
And consider the source. Terry's story about the Oklahoma City bombing was far dramatized.
I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like how...
for her, she's like clearly was the favorite child in that camp.
Yeah. Something happened. I mean, Terry didn't even like Zagitova like a couple weeks ago. So now she loves her. I love that Zagitova posted a photo of herself with a Terry right after. Like, there's no love between them anymore. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think her with a real choreographer, no more miming, mature skating.
I think that's the thing. And, you know, like we said, like, La, you can speak to this because I didn't get your take on it, but like her jumps after this kind of growth spurt and this kind of thing, like what happened? I mean, like the jump seemed a little wonkier to me. I'd be curious to get your take on. It just didn't seem as steady.
Yeah, it's always a little wonky though. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. So I mean, on that level, I'm glad she's going to address whatever it is she feels like she needs to address, but also the idea that she's going to be exposed to new choreographers. Like when we were talking to Tom Dixon, Dave, and I was like, how do you feel about working always with the same skaters? And he was like, I like it because you develop these things. But yet when he does things for Satoko or whatever, he's not doing both programs every time. And this was kind of the thing with Jason. Like, we know what a Jason Roheen thing looks like. And that's fine, but like it was both programs every season, so it kind of limited the potential or this sort of thing. So I'm really excited to see what David can do with her.
Yeah. My only question is if it's going to last. Not because of her. I just feel like at a certain point, Russia is going to like rein it in and be like, you need to come back here and train with Russia.
Apparently she's not financially dependent on them. Like, she's made enough money and has her own money. But they could politically try to pull her back at some point. But if she's winning, I think it'll be really interesting to see what they do to Zagitova's marks if Medvedeva does have a really elevated, sophisticated program. Because then they will try to make her win. And then with the new judging, maybe they'll start trying to it may be the only thing to break the stranglehold Terry's students have on the PCS that they don't really deserve. So.
And a couple. So one of my faves, Paulina T. So now she's left.
Likely going to Buyanova, but it's not confirmed yet. But it's suspected. Okay. Yeah.
Because I saw like big momentum start to happen there, and then it just kind of got a little wonky.
It's been like that 2 years, both years. She had momentum and then not, and she had some interesting medical problems.
The injury, right? Didn't she break her leg or something?
There was something. She had some like strange medical condition a year ago that was like the bones will break on themselves, and then this year we never heard anything about it.
Yeah, but I see great. But I always enjoyed watching her this season, even if things weren't always in line.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yes, and then so Tammy Gamble is moving to Colorado Springs. There's been talk that Christy Call would retire for some time. I don't know if that is happening, but Tammy's definitely moving there. How long is she going to get along with Tom Z for? And how long are they going to co-coach Vincent for? With that amount of those two type A personalities, how is this going to work out? And how long until Drew Meekins moves elsewhere? What's going on? What are you thinking?
It's interesting because I'll be intrigued what happens in Colorado, and because it I don't know, we get kind of conflicting reports. There's a part that seems like she's really like got everything in her ducks in a row, and then other perspectives seem like maybe things are a bit more chaotic. So does being under the watchful eye so close in Colorado, does that help or hurt? I was really intrigued by this Alexa and Chris commentary that by being physically in Colorado so close to the association, that there was so much micromanaging done from afar. And in my opinion, anything that's done by committee doesn't really work so well. So is now everyone working with Tammy and Tom? Are Tammy's skaters is Karen going to go there and be micromanaged by the association now? I'm intrigued what happens.
It sounded like Karen was looking at colleges and coaches, and I don't know if she's with Tam, and that's really unclear. She's all over the map. She and Jason are scattered in terms of coaches. We know that Jason had tried with Vincent, where Gracie has been working, training, but I really think that Jason should go to Priscilla Hill. He seems like just her kind of boy. She's kooky, but she has actual technique, unlike Corey. She is sort of motherly, yet she's...
Now, all of this news about Priscilla, she has started a new program at a rink somewhere for younger...
She had taken a step back from program, I think. After she kind of talked about it, emotionally and stuff. She took a step back, and then now she has some boy who's doing triple axels and quads, so that could push him.
Okay, great.
So...
I think she's going to run a training center at Pond.
Yeah.
Which is where Johnny skates.
And Kimmy Meisner is coaching there, and other people.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could just see it. I could just I think it would make a lot of sense, because there are other coaches, Frank is kind of semi-retired. Other coaches don't think he can get the quad, so they don't really want to be blamed for that at this point. And it's interesting because he worked with Vincent, but he never really worked with Vincent when Vincent was actually in Colorado.
Every time you say Vincent, I'm thinking of Vincent Zhao initially.
No. I'm thinking of Vincent, who coached Ting, and Ting is apparently now going to RAF. So
it's an interesting shuffle that's happening.
Also, did you notice that Roth didn't even mention Mariah Bell when he was talking about all of his skaters and his talented skaters?
Well, he talked about top skaters, right? And she, regardless of our affinity if you have an affinity for her skating, she is not. She is not a top skater.
Is Breshna a top skater, though? What league are we talking about? But I thought that was... let's be real. Outside of, what?
Sorry, I keep interrupting. Did you watch the Jason Brown... coming to terms with Nationals video?
I would like to defer to Law on this. I have no comment.
All right, let's make her answer so everyone hates her instead of us.
Okay. So it was texted to us in a group text.
Mm-hmm.
It was prefaced as this is very cringe. So if anyone's familiar with Jason Brown's Insta stories or videos, all of it, and the dancing across the country and making his parents dance and the whole thing.
Do you find it charming? Jason in the
the regular stuff, like I really like makes my skin crawl. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it. It's like, I think you've talked about it, like the what's the term for like the boy in the man body?
the man child, yeah.
Yeah, it's like very that to me.
Yeah, that's correct.
Like,
Yeah, well, that's two totally separate entities.
I have to compartmentalize it, but like I really am a huge Jason Brown fan. So I'm like really prepared for like the weird dancing watching this. And then I was like, this is so normal. Like this I watch. Like okay. This is okay. I mean, he didn't really like say anything. He was just like, it took me a while, but I've come to terms with it. I'm going to be stronger. He was also like,
did you miss like the weird crying section that he like interspersed in?
I was like, it's all right. So like,
what do you mean? Why would you reshoot the video and then include yourself crying? Like again, it was all.
Like,
it was so even in the first few seconds, it was so hyper edited that like literally every other word was a clip back in, and I was like, wow, this was manipulated a little bit, like the way they had to edit it. And from
Corey, you know, he really knows how to like manipulate a situation and twist it. Yeah.
This program at Nationals though was so bad that even though he was like first alternate, it like wasn't to me like this huge disappointment. Like he didn't come close.
They would have sent him too. I think they would have sent him and Adam for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that's tricky is like all of these young skaters are expected to learn these life lessons and like learn and grow and deal with them and have come to terms with them in such a fast amount of time.
I also thought it was interesting how he talked about how he struggles with his own self-worth, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, like everyone has those struggles, but he doesn't come across as someone where like you see like Gracie and you're like, oh, she's struggling with that. But, like, it was endearing. I don't know. It was way better than like the dancing on the mountains.
No, the worst Jason Brown video was whatever time he was at the World Team Trophy with Corey and he had the kiss and cry videos the day before. It was one of the most disturbing ones, I think. That one.
Which again, the skating is sophisticated and mature, and so the disconnect is even more confusing at times. You know what I mean?
Wait, but La, you also listed his competitive programs as a cringe too, off camera. Yes. Well, yeah. It was more like the dancing on the thing. But yeah. What?
I don't know.
Tell us. Let it out.
I like feel like really cynical when I'm like saying stuff, and that when I like suddenly defend something, I feel like you guys are judging me and are like, who are you? Like, why are you defending this?
I think not at all.
Like,
it makes you interesting.
For something, and then I was, throwing it in.
It's I think all of us, like, there was that element of all of us at Nationals that, of course, you hate to see that implosion. And then, of course, you know that, like, as a kid, like, 3 months later, you have not figured it out. You have not put it in perspective, and you have not grown from it yet. It's such a thing. You know, like, somebody, like, I don't know, Nancy Kerrigan or whomever, they're going to talk like 10 years down the line about the actual lessons learned. You know what I mean? Like, so your heart goes out to these kids that are like trying to find their way and trying to do it so quickly and so publicly that they have to come up with these kinds of inspirational videos. And it's like, I feel bad that they have to do that.
Yeah, and these skaters are all a product of that culture because this whole generation spins it so quickly. They've all grown so much. They love the person they've become. Right. It's so over the top. I mean, everything.
And they figured it out. They figured it all out. They have inner peace now from that moment, just a mere 3 months later or something. Yeah.
At least Sasha would wait and have her journal entry at the end of every summer about how much she's figured out her problems before the new year, and then she would start competing again.
Well, and that was confusing about Gracie, is because we kept getting all these sort of reports like, oh, that was before. I have it figured out now. I got it now. And then you're like, no.
Yeah, it's like a product of our media where everything's like immediate, where even with Sasha, there wasn't social media.
Right.
God, I wish there were. But anyway, it was a good time. You know, it was a really good time checking that website. But yeah, I mean, what else is going on? I mean, Chalk and Bates to Montreal, which is very good politically for Marie-France. Apparently, Montreal did turn down Weaver and Poget again. It's interesting. They may be moving. We have confirmation that Igor and Pasquale have teamed up.
Interesting, right?
That's interesting. So that could be good.
Did we already talk about Honda going to RAF?
We did talk about Honda, and I think
Last week.
Yoon Soo Lim is going to RAF as well.
Yeah.
So
Did we discuss that last week?
I think I said that I was happy that he's focusing on like international skaters.
And
Right.
the brother is going too, also, right?
The brother can do it. The brother is not of the same level of ability as Marin, but you know, we wish him all the best of luck. He's
I only heard about the sisters. I didn't even know there was a brother.
there's always a sibling. You
Okay.
know.
I'm going to get so many hateful comments on Jason. Ugh, I'm sorry. I love his skating.
Why would that be hateful? I think everyone loves this. I don't know anyone who doesn't love his skating.
Right, but like the rest. Anyway.
Anyway, someone had to finally say it. I think that it was, yeah. I don't think you're alone in those views. I'll put it that way.
Thank you.
Well, it's always that separation from, and this is what's interesting also, like even with Dancing with the Stars, to bring it full circle, is the difference between the product and the person. And
Right.
sometimes they are beautifully connected, and sometimes they really, you know, there was that.
But he also like probably is that person who's like so sweet and so endearing and like doesn't have a mean bone in his body, and I'm being catty and ripping on his dancing videos. Anyway.
But someone should kind of tell him to tone it down. Anyway.
I think it's one of these things in skating, again, like that insular idea, or that a lot of times things like Olympic sports that are so specific like this can result in a stunted kind of thing
Right.
at times, because they're
You
in
know what? I'm just jealous of his dancing and skating ability. There we go.
here she's like,
I'm not jealous of his hair.
okay.
I know. Oh, dear.
Well,
Well,
how did you end up so normal if you were growing up in a skating bubble? How did you keep perspective?
I'm not normal.
she went to a
Well,
private school,
no,
okay?
but
Yeah, my parents made me go to school.
okay.
And
yeah.
Marjorie Weiss did off-ice
I also,
training
like-
with her.
I also like wasn't that talented, so like
So it became a different kind of just feeling in general at the ring for you, you mean?
yeah, I wasn't like
You were doing triples, weren't you?
really. I wasn't what's the word, coddled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, also...
Like I missed a lot of school, but like I don't know. Anyway.
Anyway, what do you think is going on with Marina? Because she's been very quiet. Like, she doesn't have any students, no top... Like, this is very unusual for a Russian ice dance, like, A-list, top-level
You
coach.
texted this to me, Dave, when you were like, Marina's been quiet. So my question to you is, was she normally more vocal, or we've just not heard on the periphery about her?
We've heard nothing about her.
Yeah.
Other than Elise Frazier going there for, like...
junior teams that we don't know about, does she? No.
It's so unlike her to not steal someone else's students and, like...
She's like tired and retiring.
I don't know. No way.
She's like on a beach in Hawaii, like eating poke bowls.
No. She is Russian.
She's
like
the
on the
she's-
level of Tarasova. She will have someone. She will do.
Tarasova.
Tarasova like has like roles in Russian skating, and she's still.
Hey, maybe Marina's doing that.
And Tarasova, actually, just to like interject this and bring it back, was very much on Evgenya's side.
Yeah.
She was like, Atiri needs to calm down.
Is Marina a U.S. citizen? Do we know?
I don't. She's like with Johnny Johns. I don't know if they're really married, but I don't know. I think there's also like a lot of like no one knows where Alexa and Chris are going. There's like constantly rumors about Tara and Danny. There's like they were talking about that pair center, and because we've seen Marina do all of the ballets, we know all of her ideas. I wonder if she would be involved with the pair school. because that would be smart. Again, that would be smart. I don't think the USFS would do that because that would be a good decision. So they probably won't do it, but that would make logical sense.
Yeah.
I would just say that when a Russian ice dance A-list coach is quiet, you should know that they're probably scheming. That is just what is planning, plotting, scheming, something.
Well, because really my first introduction to Marina was her involvement with Gordieva and Gringhoff in '88.
Right.
Like, obviously, she has things to offer.
And who was like their technical coach in '94? Did Marina take all of the credit for that? Like, she was the choreographer. Did she help them with their jumps?
I don't remember. Well, his single Saukow or whatever he did in the long program.
Listen.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful regardless.
But like, who helped Katya with the double axel? Like, who was really working with them technically? I don't know.
Maybe she didn't need help, considering that she can still do it. It's probably that Stanislav Zuk.
And all that time in the sauna they had together.
Girls, right?
That was one racy book that she wrote.
DSL Book Club, My Sergey.
My Sergey, What Happened in the Sauna.
What was the liquor?
Paradise Cognac Liqueur.
That's what we're going to have while we discuss it.
Well, I won't because I'm on my cleanse. So I'm day 5 of no coffee. So I feel really good, actually. I preemptively took Tylenol ahead of time so that I wouldn't have because I used to be like the 3 large coffees a day.
Did you just do Tylenol once though?
Like once or twice a day. You know, like in the morning and then.
Still?
No, like the first 2 days. The first 2,
okay.
Yeah. And I felt like I have like more energy and the cleanse is going really well. So you eat 5 times a day and it's all organic food, so it's working well. Hopefully.
So did you just go to Whole Foods and load up?
I went to Trader Joe's, but you were there like 5 minutes after me apparently.
Just a bunch of food with the yeah, okay.
I know. I do love Trader Joe's, but there's only certain things that we can have. Like, there's no dairy and fun things like that. So, but there are things I want later, and it's like very low sugar. Like you try to like pasta sauce that has no added sugar in it, and there are like certain things that I'm doing. So if you're interested, you can email me about it at theskatinglesson@gmail.com. But yeah.
Just let me know. There's a good pasta sauce from Costco that's no sugar.
All right.
Gosh,
I'm cooking, but I'm not as entertaining at cooking as Jenny. She was making French toast with a hamburger bun. There was something with a protein cake today. I can't stop watching it.
Episode unto itself.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So,
want to feel good about yourself? Go watch this.
It gets better every time.
It's very entertaining.
People are very concerned that she doesn't follow recipes, but
whoever Carlo is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm concerned too. I've texted her several times. I've texted her a lot. I've texted her this
what's funny is these adamant commentators, she even said when she poured the bacon grease in the drain, she got hundreds of panicked comments and emails about her drains. I was
but if you're in a rental, it doesn't matter.
I don't. Trick of the trade. Yeah.
Yes.
Things do matter because I'm in a rental, and let me tell you, I had the stomach flu, and I had a toilet that got clogged with floss last year. Let me tell you. So Christopher Schumann took us out to a French restaurant when we went to the Met.
Is this going to be a gross story?
I heard the story over the weekend. You don't need to share it.
All right, I won't share it.
I
was putting the kibosh on it. Yeah.
All right.
You know what? The Real Housewives of New York have started.
We need to go. All right. Hold an edge, look sexy, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.